What is it that connects us all? When I was first asked to give this speech on connections, that's the question I asked myself the most. What is it that connects us all? And so I thought back to a story a few months ago. And I guess I'm going to share that story with you today. So on February 2nd, Maclean's released an article that claimed Winnipeg to be the most racist city in Canada. Winnipeg responded to the article. Mayor Bowman, 2.5 hours after he originally read the article, he came out with a press conference. At this press conference, he said, Winnipeg has a responsibility to turn this ship around and change the way we all relate. There's art projects that broke out. You can see some here, some of Casey Adams' pieces. Our classrooms filled with discussions on the topic. Students had opinions on it. So at our school, the executives, we meet every Friday. So at our next meeting, it's composed of myself, Eric Koski, and Brianne Jameson. We started talking about just the article in general, just kind of what we thought of it, what we could do about it. And then we started thinking, what can our school do to respond, maybe to raise awareness about racism in Winnipeg? So we started talking, maybe we could bring in a speaker, maybe we could have an assembly, maybe we could have a march. Boom, that's it, let's have a march. So we started looking, what does a school-wide march look like? Who do we need approval from? Do we need approval from our teachers? Do we need approval from our administration? Yeah, we probably need approval from our administration. We started looking at what roads do we take? So we started looking at all those things, and then someone said, and I forget who it was, but they said, wait, why can't this be bigger? And they were right. Why can't this be a citywide movement? So we started that discussion, like, what does a citywide movement look like? Shortly after that conversation began, the lunch bell went, and we went our separate ways. So I didn't really know who to talk to. I went home, and I started contacting people, setting up coffee meetings with people who would be able to help me. So the next day, I had one coffee meeting with Michael Champagne. He's a local MC here, and I kind of described, this is what we're planning on doing. These are our thoughts. He said, boom, yes, I love it. Let's do it. How can I help? I was so taken back. I didn't know what to say. So I said, you're an MC. Can you help us MC? And he said, I don't know. It's a student-organized thing. Maybe I'll mentor a student, and then we can MC together. I said, yes, let's do that. And then a few hours later, I met with Owen Mercredi, who some of you may know him, but he's a former National Assembly chief. And it's because of this article that he wanted to meet with me, this amazing historical Canadian figure, and he wanted to meet with me. So it was fantastic. So again, I laid out our plans. This is what we want to do. He said, yes, I love it. What can I do to help? I was so taken back. I didn't know what to say. I left it up to him. Whatever you think will help us, you can do. So I got home that day, and there was an email in my inbox, and it was to Mayor Bowman and to the special events coordinator, and there I was carbon copied in the email, and it was introducing us, and it was this fantastic feeling of finally something's happening. Then just a few minutes after that, I got this beautiful text, one of those texts that really brighten your day. It was from Eric Koski, and he said, Philip, we've organized a meeting with 5 school representatives from across the city. It'll be tomorrow at Oak Park. It's like, psh. He's like, can you make it? Psh, yes, of course I can make it. So I got there, I was so nervous. I got there, no one knew each other. It was the strangest meeting I had ever been to. But everyone loved it. Everyone loved the idea, and it quickly became it was the best meeting I had ever been to, quickly. And so then we started having more and more of these meetings. We had 3 meetings that week, and then we kept having more and more. And at every meeting, there'd be some people who would go contact other schools, kids from their schools saying, can you put me in contact with your school leader? Can you put me in contact with your student body representatives? And so more and more people came to these meetings, and it started with a group of about 6 or 7 people, and then this is a picture of one of our last meetings. This is 20 plus people here. You have St. Boniface, you have Charleswood, you have St. James, you have like this beautiful array of people, Maple, Sisler, everyone was there. It was so extreme. And it finally started looking like a movement. And that movement was called START, or Students Together Against Racism Today. There's hours of organizing, planning, getting in contact with administration, begging for their kids to come. Please let your kids come. There's hours of just talking to media, talking to speakers. It was this beautiful planning party, I want to say. It was beautiful. So then finally it happened, February 26th. We went to the legislative building, and 1,000 kids from 20 different schools joined us. It was this incredible feeling So what we did was we heard speeches from student speakers, MLAs, and then we went on a walk. We walked, we had all of York blocked off, we had all of one side of Broadway blocked off. It was entirely blocked off, and of course this February morning gifted us with extreme wind chill warning. It was minus 40 degrees that day, so we had this beautiful sea of 1,000 people doing jumping jacks, running out of place. It was so fantastic. A lot of people came up to me after, and they said, "Philip, you look like a fool with your mitts on your shoes." I said, "I know, but I couldn't feel my toes. I had to do it." So it was so beautiful. People had these signs that said "Ensemble," which means together in French. They're mitzy and proud, these beautiful signs. And there was some chants that started. The crowd engulfed in chants is the best feeling. I love crowds that are engulfed in chants. Being able to chant, we had one chant that Kevin Chief brought. It was, "Be sincere, start is here." So everyone chanting this, and the person next to you is probably from the farthest reach of the city. It was this beautiful feeling. Here's another picture. This is Michael Champagne here speaking to the people at the legislative grounds. It was this beautiful feeling, but why did this event happen? What was it about this movement that despite minus 40-degree weather still allowed for 1,000 people to come up? I'm going to bring you back to the original question. What was it that connected us all? I still didn't know the answer. So I started talking to some people who participated. I turned to Elise Condas, who is born and raised in St. Boniface. She's currently the vice prime minister of her school, Collège Juliel, which is the largest francophone school in Manitoba. That's her there on the left. So I asked her, she actually gave a speech in French, and she embraced her Métis roots and encouraged everyone, all the francophone students, to join her in the fight for equality. And I asked her, "Elise, why did you participate in this event?" And she said it was simply because it was something that she valued, that she cared about. And I said, "Elise, did you feel connected to this movement?" And to this she said that she did, not only because her and the movement shared the same values, but because her and everyone in that crowd shared the same values. Everyone in that crowd wanted to make a difference. She said the feeling of such a big crowd behind her back was incredibly powerful. I then asked Edith Fossenu what she thought. Edith was on our organizing committee from early on. She's also part of the Aboriginal Student Leaders Group at Maples Collegiate, which is the first ever Aboriginal student group to be created in a high school in Manitoba. This is her giving an interview on APTN National News. She was also asked to give a talk, and she accepted. 2 days before, we'd gotten word that she wasn't going to be able to make one of our meetings because her sister was in critical condition in the hospital. She had collided into a semi-truck. That was her car afterwards. Leading up to the march, we had no idea if she was going to be able to make it. But at the march, there she was. She was stronger than ever. She stood in front of that crowd and said, "I am an Aboriginal student. Racism is a part of my life. But the real problem is, it's a part of all of our lives. And we are here because we believe the only way we can make steps forward is together." So I asked her, "Edith, why did you participate in this event?" And she said it was so important for her to represent the Aboriginal students in this fight. She said that after the article, it was very clear that action had to be taken. She said, "We are the youth of Winnipeg. We have to send a strong message that we stand for equality." So faced with the original question, what is it that connects us? I could finally say with certainty what it was. It was fairly simple. It's the same thing that connects most of you today. You're all wearing white. I suppose that's for the Winnipeg Jets, correct? Yeah, the Jets. It's the same thing. It was this beautiful... So what it was, the organizers, all the organizers did was take the people and connect them to one thing that they all had in common. There was one thing that day that everyone felt a part of, that everyone belonged to, and that one thing was Winnipeg. See, everyone saw the racism in Winnipeg, and they felt, yes, I should love my neighbor. I should love the people from the farthest neighborhood from me. I should love everyone. So that made it so simple for people to say, yes, that is something I want to do. I want to participate in this event. So I'm just going to take a brief pause and this is my favorite picture from the entire march. this is the start of it. We're coming to the end of it. This is the start of the march, and then this is all the way down Broadway. And this is a pretty decent stretch, almost a block here, and you can see it still keeps going. So that's just one of my favorite pictures. But before I end, I'm going to end it on a quote from Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." And I think that's true. I think human tribal instincts bring us closer together as groups, and we feel connected to movements. So I bring to you, as leaders, in order to form these groups, it's important that we bring everyone together and show them that we all stand for the same thing. I ended my talk at the Legislative Building with these words: "We are all human. We are all Winnipeg." And I didn't realize how much that spoke to the movement until recently, until I started looking into it. And I realized that that was true, that everyone there had the same feeling of right and wrong, that everyone stood for equality, that everyone stood against racism, and that everyone there wanted to fight for Winnipeg and those who made Winnipeg such a rotten place. Everyone thought that Winnipeg could be better than what the article had painted them as. On March 26th, it was highlighted in an article entitled, "We Are All Winnipeg." In that article, some St. John's Ravenscourt students were quoted. Deborah Tsao, you may know her, she was quoted as saying, "We can't write legislation, but we can send a message." And I thought that was a very beautiful quote. There was also some other really great quotes in that article. So now you've heard what I had to say, that if you want to be a leader, it's important that you take people and show them one thing that they can connect to. So I want to challenge you to go back to your classrooms, to go back to your homes, and think, my original question, what is it that connects us all? If you find the answer to that question, you can inspire great change. We all have the strength to rise to action. It just takes someone to bring it out. Someone like Owen Murphy, someone like Casey Adams, someone like Brianne Jameson and Eric Koski, someone like Elise and Edith, someone like Michael Champagne, someone like Mayor Bowman, someone like Deborah Tsao. It was simple. All we did was show them how people connected. So I ask you to do the same. We all have the strength to rise to action. It just takes you to bring it out. Thank you.